Okay, hello there guys, welcome back to tutorial number 6 about developing a spaceship game using LibGDX. So in the previous video we addressed the problem of the location and the display of this window using and its scale on the desktop, and also we address the problem of the location of these buttons, not the location but rather the coordinates of touch. Okay, so now it's working fine. So today we are gonna start working on the main texture of the game, and work a little bit on the background. Okay, so what am I gonna do? I will need to I will start GIMP here, and I will change few things in the game's background here. So the first thing, I want the game to have a black background because you have a spaceship, right? So what should happen is that space appears to be black, I suppose, right? So because of this, I set the clear color right here to 0, 0, 0, and what that means is when I run this game now, I will get something like this. Okay, so this is the very first thing. Now the next thing is that I want to add a few stars to the background here. So I will now, instead of creating a separate file for the stars, I will just create a big file and extract the stars from it. So this is what am I gonna do. I will create a new image. I will use a texture of size 1024. Let me say, instead of 1024, let me say, yeah, use it 1024 by 1024. Okay, give it an OK and go to Window Toolbox. Yeah, so let me see if I could. Yeah, it doesn't contain transparency, so I will go and show the layers. Okay, so right click here and add alpha to channel. What that means that now you can have transparency. So what am I gonna do is select everything here and press delete. So now the whole image is transparent. Now this is the first thing, and also I will go to grids here just to simplify things on myself. 5, 6, so 16 by 16, the width and the height, and the view, go to show grid. So now I have this grid. I will zoom in. So each box represents a 16 by 16, 16 by 16 pixel. And the reasons for that is that I want to, identify where each sprite lies to make things a little bit more easier for me. So the first thing I want to do is to combine all the files I created previously into this one. So obviously the first thing I created is this. So I will just copy this file, which is the button. If I remember correctly, I should be able to paste it here. I think it didn't work, right? Yeah. So in that case, let me go. Where's the open with open? Where is the open with? There you go. GIMP. So this is the previous button image. I will copy this, edit and copy, and I will go back to our big texture, which will contain everything. and paste it here. And what am I trying to do, just to make you know? I'm trying to create sprite sheet for the game. Usually you will get the sprite sheet provided for you right away. Either you have a person who's good at the graphics and he will do that for you, or you might go and buy a sprite sheet. Okay, so let me make sure that this one, yeah, okay. So I'll try to make sure that this button is exactly within the bounds of 16 by 16. So I will change its scale a little bit, right? So I think it should be something like this. Bear with me a little bit, please, because this is important. If we do this right, everything else will be kind of easy. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's it. Oh, cancel. So we finished this one. Let me zoom a little bit. I have few issues, like the corners of the button. We will do this very quickly. Okay, and there is the other corners. This corner here. Okay, I suppose that's it. This is the first one. So I will create sorry, this is the touch button we will use. It's a 3 by 3 squares. Each square is 16 by 16, but don't worry about it for now. And also, just make sure there's nothing else. And also I will create something for the stars, okay, that will be displaying later on. So I will put something in here. Let me see. This is gonna be a star. I don't know if you can see that or not, but basically I'm gonna fill this one with 2 colors right here. Go and okay, something like that. So this will be for the stars, but since we are testing, this is the very beginning here for creating our textures. And usually the reason people would compact different images into a single file and use them is that during rendering, OpenGL or the game will switch between different textures when you try to draw them, and this switching could take a little bit of time in some cases. So if you have all the images, if I remember correctly, so if you have all the images in a single file, this will result in faster rendering of the game. So now I will export this. Export as. Let's go to the desktop, and I will call this game sprite sheet, or let's say sprite sheet, okay, .png. I'll export this. Make sure to select PNG, export, and done. So I'll close this, discard changes, close this one, discard changes as well, and close this. So we close that all of these images. Now let's go to the sprite sheet and copy it, go back to our game, and let us go to the Android folder, assets, and right click and paste this one here. Where is the paste command? There you go. So we'll put the sprite sheet here. There you go. Okay, so we'll have sprite sheet in here. It's very straightforward. Now so what am I gonna do? So in the main game file, I want to make sure that I load the sprite sheet here. Okay, so let us see. I will create a texture here. So the sprite sheet, there you go. So I will say texture sprite sheet semicolon. Okay, and obviously I need to initialize this one, so let me go to the initializer. So here I will say sprite sheet equals a new texture sprite sheet.png semicolon. Okay, before I do anything else, let me just run this, make sure it works with no error. Okay, so far this is working. Now the first thing that we have is the button itself, and the button is located at the very top left corner. For this very reason, I will go to the input management, because that is where I define this button. So I defined it as texture. Now instead of this, I will use an object called texture region, which is, you can see here, it defines a rectangular area of the texture. The current system use had its origin upper left corner. So I will use this one, okay, instead of a texture. We already loaded the texture, but we will extract the button from it. Okay. Yeah, let me check something quickly back. Let me see. Yeah, we are loading this. Okay, all is fine. Let's go back here. So now let's go to our friend. So the button equals let me see, did I make it static? I might need to make this static, right? Where is that? Okay, so public, this is gonna be static. Yeah, and the reason it's static, I want the everyone to be able to access this sheet, because they will all get their objects or sprites from it. So now let me go back to this one, sprite region, sorry, texture region. Okay, so now I suppose I need to specify the texture itself, right? So for this reason, I will use the G01 game dot sprite sheet. I want to get the button from the sprite sheet. Now the x-axis is 0, the y-axis is 0, and the width of that button. And for this, from now on, I will not use the sprite sheet on the desktop, because it's a copy of the one here. So I will right click this one and see if I could edit it from within here. Is there a way to open that? I suppose not. So I will do this. I will right click this and see if I could open the folder right away. Seriously? Yeah. Well, actually, I'll go to the physical location of the file itself, right? Okay, so I double click that, but I want to find the exact location of the file, because I want to edit it with GIMP, because GIMP allows you to do extra things in here. Okay. So let me, yeah, so what I want to do is to know the width and the height. I already know these, but I just want to show you what you should do to address this issue. In my case, I placed the game. In my case, it's on the TMP. Oops. Let me just open this. Navigate manually. This is the TMP G01 Android. Where is that? Is the Android folder assets, and you will see the game right here. So now I will right click this. I should be able to find GIMP here. There you go. So I'll open this with GIMP again. Okay, and now GIMP's taking 500 years to open the file. Very sorry about that. Anyway, so while this one is opening, let's go to the file. So as far as I remember, the buttons have was 3 pixels each. 3 boxes. Each box is 16 pixels, and the other one, the height is 3 boxes multiplied by 16. Okay, that's it. So this is the width, this is the height, and this should be it. I suppose we don't need to do extra work, if I'm not mistaken. And I wonder, yeah. Now this is now, since the button is actually texture region, you cannot use get width. Let me see what can I use instead. Button get region width instead, right? And this is gonna be get region height. Get region height. There you go. Again, this will be get region width, and also get region width, and this is gonna be get region width. Okay, and I suppose this is gonna be get region height. The other one, get region width. Okay, wonderful. Get region width. All right. What was here? Okay, height. Yeah, maybe it will be better if I just copy the word and use it everywhere. Just paste it in here. Come on, dude. Yeah, so we finished this one. There are 2 other errors. One of them is in here. Oh, there should be a semicolon. Sorry about that. Okay, so that should be all. So let's see if we still get the same result. Okay, so we are getting the same result, but the button is a little bit chopped from the very top, and this is my mistake actually. Right, but it is still working well. Now, in addition to that, maybe I could fix this, right? So let me just show the toolbox and click here, zoom in a little bit. There you go. So what happened, yeah, this one's a little bit chopped off here. Anyway, just to make things appear a little bit nicely, I'll remove a single column from here, and I will remove a single column from here. I will go to file and overwrite this one. Now you need to go to Android and right click. I remember there was something refresh that is in Eclipse. I'm not sure if I need to do this in here, right? So let me say synchronize assets, and now let's run this again. Okay, so now the button appears to be balanced. It's okay, right? So we shoved off a little bit, few things from the left, sorry, from the right and bottom, and all looks fine. Now this is the first thing. Now the next thing we are gonna do is to add the spaceship itself. Okay, so the problem, I didn't prepare a texture file right away, so I'll do this on the fly. And the reason for that is basically many of these are copyrighted, and I don't trust the website that offers free texture fully, because they don't always check on these. You could go and upload right away, so you don't know. So we'll try to create something very quick and improve on it over time. So let's say that this is gonna be our spaceship. Just bear with me a few seconds, please. And you guys will be, I hope you'll like what you see. Okay. So let me go and, rotate this here. This is basically how I make sprites. I use Microsoft Word in addition to GIMP, and it might seem very silly at first, but the results usually are very good. So here, let's go. Come on, let's see. Is that balanced well? Yeah, it seems to be balanced well. So I click here and right click and group them together. And the last thing I need here is something for the wings, so I might use this one. Okay, that is very good, I suppose, and I will make a copy of this one. So what's the width? Minus 1.27 centimeters. So that's gonna be 1.27 centimeters. What are those of oh, sorry, not this one. 2.54. There you go. Click on 2.54 and enter. So now these are both the same width. Okay, so let's go and put this one here, right? Okay, it seems to be okay. Now actually I make it half the width. Yeah, half the width seems to be better. So not half, but I will reduce it by 1 centimeter. Enter, something like that. That seems to be much better here. And this one, okay, yeah, both of these seems to be much better. So click here, 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 and I will group this again. Group it, seems to be fine. And finally I will create something like like a shooting, where is that? Some kind of rectangle, probably. I will use this. I don't know, I have to rotate it. I won't do it very quickly if I use that. So let me see if there is something else. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Something simple, something very simple, yet looks good at the end, the wing. What can I do? I might use this one. Go here. Yeah, something like that. So it's 0.21 centimeters. Go here and 0.21, enter. Good. So here, yeah, right now this doesn't look anything good. It looks garbage. I know. Just wait a second, please. Okay, good. And okay, so let's go these, right click, I will group it. Oops, click here, and click here and group it. Okay, so now I'll click here and try to format this and fill it. Probably, yeah, How do you want the color of your spaceship? Maybe this one? Yeah, I will use this one. And finally, I will just insert a simple rectangle right here. Yeah, and make sure that it will be something like that. Okay, and maybe something, you know, the exhaust of the jet for this spaceship or some shit like that. So where is it? Yeah, just make sure that this one sent to back. There you go. And make it again here. Go. So we group these together. Okay, so we group them. I suppose that will be it, right? Not sure if this is at the very center, so I'll just use this trick. Yeah, it seems to be at the very center. Okay, so here. Sorry. So this seems to be fine for now. So basically now we can, you know, reduce the size and make it a little bit small. That makes sense to you guys? Okay, so okay, not like that, but let's see. So I just copy this. Now we go to GIMP, our friend. So now let me go to window, and where's the layers part? Okay, so I'll create a new layer so that I don't ruin anything I have. Click and paste it in here, and it is very big. So I click on this one to scale it down, and make sure you have the same aspect or percentage. Alright, so I will scale it, and now I will have to move this here. Okay, maybe I will go to, and yeah, let me reduce it a little bit more. So click here, just you know, allow me to compress it a little bit, scale. Now I will go to filters, distort, and go to emboss right here. I think this emboss will, you know, not give me the effect I want, I suppose. Okay, never mind that. Okay, so now right now we just want to change this a little bit. Next we will go to color and colorize. So let me make it like that. This color, saturation, and yeah, lightness. Do you want it to be this? Yeah, that will be okay. Give it an okay here. Finally, make sure to show the grid. Where's that? 1 2 3 4 5 6, so that I know where the items are. And if you, yeah, there you go. So I will just make sure that I'm placing this one at the beginning of a new column. There you go. Next I will make it fit a 3, you know, okay, so I'll scale this here. Okay, that's wonderful. Wait a second, maybe not like that. Again, repeat this again. Scale this, that's good. I'll make sure that it's the same size as the button. In other words, it will only occupy about 3 by 3 boxes. So click here again. And scale that. Okay, so this is how our spaceship is gonna look like now. Okay, I know it's crappy, but you know, we will improve this look and feel later on in the game. Okay, right now we just wanted things to, you know, be working well. So I will overwrite this one, Now the spaceship location is at 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have to skip 4 boxes from here. I already wrote the file, so I just go back to our friend, which is GIMP, and we refresh or sync with assets. Okay, so now let's go to our game. Now for the spaceship, there's gonna be texture region. There you go, IMG. And now we have this gonna be a new texture region. There you go. So I will change the order because I want this to I want the sprite sheet to initialize first. So I'll go get this from the sprite sheet at the x-axis 16 by 4 because it's the 4th box, and y is 0, followed by 16 by 3, this is the width, followed by 16 by 3, this is the height, and semicolon. There you go. The last thing that when we want to render the spaceship, okay, I don't have to pause here. Yeah, I suppose that's it. And let us run this now. Okay, so now you can see that our spaceship, you know, has changed. So now we have the button and the spaceship itself on the same, you know, on the same what do you call on the same sprite sheet. But so far it doesn't look like that our spaceship is flying, right? So I will do a few other changes. Before that, let me see, where is the IMG file? Where is the part where we render everything? This is the render part, right? So yeah, so we're doing drawing this now. I will add some, you know, maybe 50 pixels so that you can so that the spaceship's not stuck to the very bottom. It will be, you know, a little bit shifted about, you know, the display, something like that. Okay, so now we will start working on the effect of, you know, displaying stars and stuff like that. So what we could do is, you know, we could place all the code here, or we could, you know, place the code in another file, like, you know, like the input management. So I will create a class for background management, which will allows us to render everything on the background, okay, to simplify things. So right click here, add a new Java class. This is gonna be called, what am I gonna call it? Background management. There you go. And I will click OK. So here, what am I gonna do? So I'll have a public element, public. This is gonna be what am I gonna call it? Texture region, okay, star 1. Okay, so this will represent a shape of a star. Also public texture region star 2 and public texture region star 3. So let's say you have 3 types of a star, but for now, at the very beginning, let's, you know, assume there's only 1. So let's work on the constructor and initialize this texture region. Sorry. So here we have background management. This is the constructor, and I'm gonna say star1 equals new texture region G01 game dot sprite sheet dot oh, this is it. So the x-axis, now if we go back to here, we created this, you know, represent, you know, some star that is kind of a little bit close or something like that. We'll change this later on, but for now, what's the x-axis? It is 48, right? And the y-axis is 0. So 48 followed by 0 followed by 16 and 16. These are the dimensions of the first star. Now let's create another one. Let's see. I think there was something useful in here, a shape that is very useful. Where is it? Yeah, something like this. It's something like this. There you go. And let me see. How do you do that? No, not this one. I will change this color shapeful into white, and yeah, and also let me see, and the outline is also white, so you won't see it, but we want this in GIMP. So go here, create a new layer so that it doesn't interfere. If we do any mistake, we could remove it right away. So we paste it here, and then we scale things down. Actually, just type 16 here. Scale this, and now we want to move it. My friend, go and move this one here. There you go. Okay, so we will have a sprite or a star sprite in here. Okay, so there's the second one. As for the third one, I'll make one that is a little bit smaller. So I'll copy this, Control C, click, and Control V, and you know, reduce its size a little bit. Just make it a little bit smaller. There you go. Scale it. So this way we'll have, you know, we'll have 3 types, you know, of stars. Okay. Very nice. And now go File and overwrite the sprite sheet. Let's go to our friend here and refresh things, or synchronize the assets. Okay, so this is the first star, second and third. So this is going to be the second and third stars. So the second one's placed at 16 pixel, and this is going to be 16 by 2, so we skip 2 boxes. Okay, very straightforward, very easy thing to do. And what we need to do as well is to add, you know, a render method. So let's go to the input management here, because I want to steal some code. So you can see this code here. Okay, so I'll copy this and go to the background management. Just, you know, want to make sure that I have the same you know, layout of function call. Okay, this is what I want. So now the question is, how am I gonna make these stars appear? Well, I need multiple instances and of this star. Okay, which means I will draw multiple stars on the background. This first. Second, each star will be shifted. So first, I will need to set an x and y for a number of stars. To do that, I will create an array. So here, public and star count. So for the game, let's say I will use maybe 100 stars. Okay, and also public int, or maybe float, make it float. Okay, float x's semicolon, and public float y's. Okay, and public float tp, which represent the type of the star, which will be one of these three guys, type 1 or 2 or 3. Okay, so what am I gonna do? I need to initialize these stars or these arrays. So here what am I gonna do is say x is equals a new int of star count, and also y's equals a new int of star count. Sorry, these are float, my mistake. Again, okay, there you go. And also, and tp equals the type is an integer. Okay, because I already know it's either the first type or second type or third type. So new float, not float, integer, very sorry about that, star count. So now we have, you know, these three types. So I have to now fill these at random. So for int I equals 0, I smaller than star count, I plus plus. So I need a random number generator. So random rnd equals new random. Okay, so here what I need to say is x is of I equal rnd dot next float. Right, so let me see next float, what's the value it returns, or I think it returns value between 0 and 1. Alright, next float doesn't say much. Next integer, you know what, I'll use next integer and it will be casted to float, no problem. So this one I need to go g01 game dot virtual width. Okay, so it could be appear at random to any width location, and the same is true for the y. So here this is gonna be virtual height. Okay, and finally tp of I equal rnd dot next int. The maximum integer is a 3, so between you know, it will be either 0, 1, 2. So if it's 0 it's the first type of star, if it's 1 the second, and so on. Okay, so this will fill all of these. Now when rendering these guys, okay, I'm gonna say texture region tr equals null. So now for int I equals 0, I smaller from the star count and I plus a plus. So I'll just say if tp, which is the type of a star, equals 0, in that case tr equals star type 1. Okay, a better technique would have been to, you know, if it is 1 it will be the second type, if it is 2 third type. You could create an array of texture region, you know, and put the stars, so now this will be indexing it right away, but it doesn't matter, you know, it will be fast enough. And finally we just render things here. So we will draw what? We will draw tr, which will contain, you know, this one. We will pass the x's of I, right, and we will pass the y's of I, right? This is the x and the y, and all the stars are of size 16 by 16 pixel. Okay, or you could, if you want, just in case, you could just say tr.getRegionWidth, so that if you change the size later on, you don't have to go here and change things. tr.getRegionHeight. There you go. And that will be it. So it will render 100 stars on the background. So let me save this for now. Now we will define a background management in the main game and use it. So let me see, where is that? Input region, spaceship texture, input management. Okay, rendering background. So here, background management, background, okay, semicolon. So after initializing everything, user input, I'll just say background equals new background management. There you go, semicolon. And the very last thing is that when we begin rendering, after we clear everything, before we draw our spaceship, we just say background dot render, right? Okay, so the name here is, instead of render buttons, I should have called it render background to be a little bit more, you know, precise. So I'll change this background. Okay, so it should be render background. I gave it the wrong name, my mistake. Yeah, instead of render buttons, it will be render background. Okay, so now let's see what do we get out of this, right? So let's run this. Hopefully we have something nice. Okay, so as you can see right now is that we have so many stars. Some of the stars are close, some are far away. So let us, you know, close this and run again. Sorry, let's run this again. Okay, so now we have different combinations, so it's working fine. But I have a problem with this one, you know, that is like a circle, doesn't give the impression that it's a star or anything. So I will change this right away to something that is a little bit better. So it is the very first layer, so I'll cancel this one. There you go. And probably I will make, you know, shift these. Let's go to this one. I'll just right click, edit and copy. Click, go here, Control V, and make sure I make one that is even smaller. Okay, I think the size is very okay now. Scale, just move it very center, and click and click. So now file, overwrite. Let's go to this one. Where's the assets folder? Right click and synchronize. Where is the sync? Synchronize here. And now let's run the game again. See what do we get. Okay, so this is much better. But the problem now still is that, you know, the stars are too bright, so we need to, you know, change the transparency of them a little bit. So for each star we will set a different transparency level. Okay, so the very far away stars will have, you know, like more transparency. Okay, so let's go back and see what we can do. Can I set the transparency here? Okay, if I could set the transparency. So these are the constructors. So we have texture region, we have rotation. Yeah, Okay, no, I'm not sure, but let's see if I could set where is the rendering here? TR, let's see if I could do this here. TR dot alpha set alpha, no. Okay, let me check with LibGDX and see if I could do something like that very quickly. Won't take long, it's very easy. So here GDX set alpha for texture region, texture image transparent render. Okay, let me see if anyone answered that. Okay, so here what is he doing? Get color. So he gets the color and set the color. Okay, so let me see what should I do. I'll do something like this. sp.set color is gonna be 0f, oh wait, 1f, 1.0f, what's that, 0f, 1.0f, 1.0f, followed by 0.3.3f. Okay, so I will do it here. So if I understand this correctly, this means that I could change the transparency right away for everything that is being drawn. So let me see if this will work. Okay, so it worked. I managed to dim these here right away. Okay, so instead of this, I will change this and make it, you know, something that is kind of random for each star. So I will update these and make the brightness of each star different. So public float brightness. Okay, so now I will just say here brightness equals what? New float star count. There you go. So we have different brightness levels for each star, and now I will just say a brightness I'll just say brightness of I equal rnd dot next float, something like that. So here this is gonna be, instead of this will change to brightness of I. Okay, so inside this loop I will change the brightness for all the textures render, and after going out of the loop I will restore the, not the brightness, but the transparency, or restore transparency to its original value. So let's run this now again and hope it works well. So now you can see there are different stars, some of them that are, you know, a little bit light, others are, you know, semi-transparent, and all seems okay. Now the next thing to improve the background is to make sure that the stars are moving. Okay, so for this I am going to add a speed X and a speed Y for each star. So here we have public float, not speed X, but rather speed Y, semicolon. So again here, as with this one, I'm gonna say speed y equals new float of star count, semicolon, right? So here I am going to say speed y equals rnd dot next float. This will return a value between 0 and 1, so I'll multiply by 3 just to make sure that I get something, you know, speed y of I get something between 0 and 3. Okay, so what am I gonna say now when rendering things in here? I will just say y's of I equal y's of I, right, minus speed y of I, and if y's of I is less than 0 at that very point, y's of I equals y's of equals the y's of I for this star plus virtual g01 dot virtual height and add to that maybe 32 just to make sure that it will appear before the screen's coming here. Okay, so this part will help us make, you know, the stars moving. So let's see, what do we get? Okay, so now what do you think about that? It's all looking good and nice. Now there is one last problem with this one, is that, you know, you want the stars that are, you know, a little bit far away, right, to be moving slower than the one closer, right? So let's have a look and see how we can do that. So we have 0, 1, 2. Let's go back to our textures. So now 1 is the big one and 2 is the small one. So yeah, I will keep the order here. So this need to be moving faster than this one, right? So let me see. So here 0 will not be this is going to be the smallest, so it will move the least, right? So this need to be, yeah. So what am I going to do? I will try to use the type as indicator, or as something that affects the speed in which the star is moving, right? So here I will just you know, make it affect things here. I will multiply this by 0.1 plus TP of I. Now you might be wondering why I am doing this. Now this will return the star type, right? And I'm adding 0.1 just to make sure the value is not 0. So when I multiply the speed by this, what I'm doing actually is reducing the speed based on the type itself of the star. So let me see how this will go now. So you can see now the biggest stars are moving faster than the other ones. There are ones in the background, yeah. Okay, but right now you can see that, you know, we are, you know, having these stars moving fast and well. Okay, one last thing, as for, you know, rendering, I will do the same trick. So where is that? Where is the place where we set the color? It's here. So brightness, I will do the same trick in here. And the reason for this is simple, is that I want the faraway stars to have less impact on the display than the one that are near. Okay, so one last thing is to change the order. So this is gonna be 1, 2, 0. Okay, so 0 should be okay. Let's see the effect here. Yeah, I reversed the effect. Very sorry about that. Okay, so let me see. We have 0, 1, and 2. So 0 means that this star is far away, so it needs to be the biggest, and the biggest one is the second tile. Next one is the third, and next is 1. Okay, I think this is it. This needs to be the order. So let's see. Okay, I suppose that's it, right? That's okay. Well, I'm not sure. Maybe I need to put, you know, 3, 2, 1. I did some mistakes in here, but you know, I don't want to think about it too much. Just make it, you know. Anyway, okay. So maybe I did it correctly in a second. It's just that I need to make sure that this one's not too, you know. Oh. Oh, wait a second. Oh, the problem here is that I need to divide this by a number because it's already 0.0f, because this value is already a little bit too big. So let me see here. Okay, so let me fix this in a second. So 0 is the furthest, right? So it will need to be number 2, 1, it's the 3, 2, okay. Um, 0.2, something like that. Okay, so instead I'll make it divided by 1. Let me see this. Let me see the effect of this one. Yeah, sometimes you need to do some experimentation to see what's going on here. Okay, so for now I will leave it the way it is. Okay, and hope that all's fine. Now one last thing, that you see that the stars always appear at the same location. So now when a star goes beyond its supposed location and gets shifted, here we are shifting the star to make sure that it appears at the very top again. Let's also change its X location, right? So here this is gonna be R&D. Let me define a random. Where's that? Okay, so let's define the random variable in here. So there's going to be R&D dot next int, and I will pass g01 game dot virtual width. Okay, so this means that every time the star will appear at different location, and let's also change the star itself. So TP of I equals rnd.next int, and I'll pass a 3, and why not even change the speed and the brightness. Okay, so I'll change everything about this star as if, you know, there's a new star coming. So now you will have nothing here that is, you know, being repeated. All the stars will appear at different locations, and you know, uh, it will all look very cool and nice, and you know, uh, it will be okay. Now the only problem, as you might see, as you can see here, is that what um, slow stars will start to, you know, taking things over, because they will last the most, right? So for this, uh, I will avoid changing the speed. Okay, I will not change the speed of the stars. And also when I change this one, I will just add minus 0.1 as well. And the reason for that, I noticed that one of the stars have its speed set to 0, which is possible. So this one will get rid of that. So okay, so now you can see that it's all, you know, going well, no problem. Okay, so it gives a very nice, you know, impression that, you know, you are flying in space and all is going well, kind of. Yeah. Okay, so I suppose this is all for today. We managed to create a sprite sheet. We managed to, you know, define stars and add them, you know, to the background, and now we can, you know, fly and do stuff, and it looks much better than before. And still, you know, we can use the touch commands. So all in all is a win. Before I close this, let me remove some of the files, so I don't need the shooter image here. So I will go and delete that. Yes. And the button, I will go to the button and delete that. Okay, and now I'll run the game again just to show that we are only depending on the sprite sheet in here. Okay, so all in all is great, and all in all it's working fine. So in the next video we will still work on the background, but we will add, you know, some, you know, texture to the background and make it not all black, but rather we will add, you know, something like the color, you know, of supernova or something like that. We will add to the background, and it will be very faint, but it will be moving as well, so you will have, you know, something very nice to look at while your spaceship is flying, before we go to the next stage where we define the enemies and start with the real game itself. Okay, so that will be all. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Bye bye.